Lou Merryweather and Shauna Lawlor, thank you so much for joining me on The Beauty of Truth. I can tell this is going to be full of lols.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, no, my pleasure. So just before we get started, just in case there's anyone listening who doesn't know us, just in case, tell us a little bit about, so you guys are here as, bridal hairdressers. Very, very well known in the game. And just to give me a little bit of an insight into your background, how you got into hairdressing and how it progressed into bridal, because I think you probably get asked it as well, and I do as well, people, who are either hairdressers or just people who are curious as to how you end up in that job, because everyone thinks it's mad glamorous.
Very glamorous.
Very glamorous.
First or will I?
You go first.
Will I go first?
Yeah.
Well, so I'm Lou Merryweather and I'm kind of late to hairdressing. I had a career change. So I worked in the world of corporate for many, many years. And I think in 2013, I changed over.
No way.
So complete change.
I know.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so I started doing like regular hairdressing, trained in a local salon in Bray, and then went freelance. And I went freelance as like a colourist. And then someone asked me to do their sister's wedding, and I did it. And I mean, that was a baptism of fire, because it was like 12 people. And I was like,
Oh my God. What?
yeah, and I charged feck all for it.
Yeah.
And
€2 head. Thank you.
and and then it kind of took off from there. So like, it wasn't my plan to do bridal, because I was allergic in the salon. If I saw an upstyle in my column, I'd like move it over to someone else. I'd be like, no, I can't do that. And then, it just kind of took off from there. So then when I started getting asked a bit more to do bridal, I was like, okay, I need to go and train with people. So I booked straight in with Joanne McNally. Or no, not Joanne McNally. I'm obsessed.
And you had a comedian. That's where you got all your funniness from.
Yeah, you trained in comedy first, so you'd be really good when you arrived at the wedding.
Joanne Kelly. Oh my God. Booked in with Joanne Kelly.
Kelly,
did her masterclass, and then, which was like amazing. And then
I love Joanne.
Joanne. And actually,
I've never met her, but I follow her on Instagram. Love all her work.
Yeah, she's just amazing. And so I did her masterclass, and then she actually then messaged me like I think only like a few months later, saying she was going to put me on her recommendations list. And I was like,
yeah, and they're the lists.
And then
I live and breathe those lists this
that's
year.
when I started getting more inquiries, and I was like, oh my God. And I didn't feel ready. Like, I was like, oh my God, I can't. But then I just did. And like, obviously when you look back at your first work that you did, it's like, I can't believe I charged for that. Yeah.
You're like, I'm really sorry. I actually,
A balaclava you should have been wearing.
Yeah. But then, you didn't charge, you didn't charge a lot either. So
They loved it though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, they loved it. It's just when you progress, like when you're at a certain point then and you look back. But if you didn't look back and feel that way, there would have been no progression.
Exactly.
That way. So like, you'd be a bit worried if you looked back and you're like, that was
I'm always amazing.
best work I ever did. Best work I ever did was in 2010.
So yes, that's how.
So how many years are you doing bridal?
So I kind of gave up the cutting and colouring in 2017.
All right, okay.
Yeah, because then I had enough work
to then just
enough bridal work to give it up.
Yeah.
And then, because it was just too hard to do both.
Is there a fear in giving it up? I always think, because it's like your bread, as a hairdresser, it's essentially your bread and butter. Obviously you had enough work, but was there that?
A little bit, but no, not really.
No,
because I was already freelance. So I kind of thought, well,
But you'll never be out of work. Like if you decided in a couple of months' time that actually I'm really quiet, you could get a load of haircuts. You could get,
exactly.
You always find someone that'll say, "Here, will you do my hair?"
Yeah. I remember doing when I was doing my junior cert, or I done my junior cert, and I was going to do my leaving cert, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, going to be a dancer, and my dad was like, do you know what? I think you should be a hairdresser. You never be out of work, and to this day. He says to me, you shouldn't listen to me. You shouldn't listen to your ma.
Yeah.
Could have been a hairdresser, now you'd be loaded. And he's like, you'll never be out of work.
Yeah.
People will always need a haircut. He used to say that to me
You
all
travel
the
the
time.
world.
Travel the world. You say to me all the time. And Shauna, yourself?
Yeah, so I went into hairdressing. I hated school. Like, absolutely hated school.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
And I was more times on the mitch than I was. So my parents were like,
Great
what are we
example.
going to
Yeah.
do? I know. My kids.
Hope your
to be
kids
like,
aren't listening.
I know, and they give out to me all the time. But, so my dad was like, okay, you can only leave if you get a job. And he was a barber, and he knew somebody in a really cool salon in town, and he asked them, would they give me a job? So I was like, I don't even want to do hairdressing. Like,
That's
Yeah.
mad.
yeah. So I'd started, and that's where I trained. That was Reds. And then,
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
yeah. So then I had my eldest son when I was just before I was 19. So I had to leave town. It was too hard, like traveling from Blanche to
Yeah,
into
yeah.
town. And so I came out to Blanche, and I was working out there for a while. And then I was just like, I want to have my own salon. So opened my own salon a couple of years later, and then I had two, and then
You
one.
had 2 salons.
I had two on the go at one time. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
But the pressure of it, like, it was just so hard. And then we kind of went into like a recession and stuff. So I was like, I started getting sick and just wasn't looking after myself. Stress of it all. So
An awful lot of people who own like their own, like their building essentially, and their salons, and their, when they've got concrete around them,
Yeah.
like say it is, they really can't describe the pressure.
Yeah.
Like when you're paying wages and you're paying rates and everything else that goes with that.
Yeah.
You think it's going to be, you're going to like be this, this self-made entrepreneur, which you were,
Yeah.
and was probably amazing at a time, but yeah, like it can take its toll big time. I've
Yeah.
from doing the podcast, I mean, had so many people on, had Shawnee B on who owns Cut and Sew,
Oh yeah.
and like when he talks about like the very first barbers he opened, and like all of the shite that came with that,
Yeah.
and like how sick, and even now trying to get the balance, like it's so hard.
Yeah, like when I decided, we'd had that really bad spell of snow. It was just before Christmas, and we were relying on December's like income, to pay VAT and tax and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah,
rent, rates, everything. And then we couldn't, like, no clients came through the door for like 2 weeks. And I finished up at Christmas and thought, oh my God, I can't do another year of this. So at the time, my husband was like, you can't leave. Like, what do you mean? What are you going to do? And I said, well, it's either that or like my health. So I'm just going to leave and I'll just go freelance. So I had loads of clients, and I just said to them at the time, listen, your choice is to stay in the salon, because I had a business partner that's kept the salon.
Oh, okay.
And I said, or else I'm going to be doing like calls to the house. And I'd say 99% of them were like, yeah, come to the house.
Yeah.
So-
Well, people don't care once they
Yeah.
love their hairdresser.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they follow
you
you
do
and
on the
stuff.
side of the road if it meant you were
Yeah.
getting a good balayage,
But then it did get busy, but I found it hard, like dragging the stuff around and, all of that.
Yeah, that has its own problems. Yeah.
And then at that time as well, I was like, okay, I'm going to like put my name into all the local hotels. So I went to that Carton House, Castleknock, loads of different hotels, put my name in and said, I'm free to do your guests hair if they want to. And that took off. And that's what made me, like what you said about upstyles, I never did upstyles in the salon. I always passed them on to one of the girls that worked for me. And then when I started getting all this demand, and then it was like weddings, then I started doing weddings, and I just went on YouTube and was like, upstyles, Hollywood ways,
Yeah.
and like taught myself really, and then start practicing on my sisters and my friends.
Yeah.
And then I was like, actually, weddings are great.
Yeah.
You go in early, you get the work done, and like it is hard work.
It
but
suits a
very
lifestyle.
hard.
Like,
It suits my lifestyle with kids.
Yeah, it
I was
suits a
thinking,
lifestyle,
this
yeah.
is just it just suits me much better than being in the salon and having the pressure of staff and all of that stuff that come with the salon. So yeah, and it just took off. I remember I went on weddings online, and my first year I had like 12 weddings booked in. Thought it was great. And then it went like to 25, then 30, then it just blew up like.
That's it.
But-
My first year, it was 15 weddings. Second year was 35.
Oh, it's
And then it kind of doubles every year.
yeah.
That's what's happened to me. So I like in 20, so like 2021 when we were properly
back,
coming
yeah.
out, like, so I probably did like 20. And then this year I did like about, I'll probably by the end of the year I've done like 40, 45 maybe. I haven't got the exact number. And then next year I'm already nearly at that number.
Yeah.
Do you know that way?
Yeah.
And it is funny, and it's so funny that both of you, like you were on people's recommendation list,
But
and
the
you're in
same
the
thing
hotels.
happened to me though I did a wedding and I was kind of getting out there like doing more and more weddings, and I met Lisa Shannon for the first time, and I'll never forget it. She was just, I didn't know who Lisa Shannon was. Like I was so, still people in the industry, I still don't know who they are. But anyway, I was chatting away to her and we just got on really well. And like that, we were like, oh, what's your Instagram? What's your Instagram? And I think at the time she'd 17,000 followers. And I was like,
She's the person to get in there with.
famous. I'm sitting beside someone famous. It's just like shaking and everything. And but she, when we were leaving, she said to me, I'm going to put you on my recommendation list. Love working with you today. And that was it.
And you
Like,
see, it's a massive part of it.
it
Yeah.
is
If
massive.
you show up and you're an asshole,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to work with you again because you're my colleague today.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't want to have to spend another 8 or 9 hours with you after you
Yeah.
being an absolute arsehole today.
Yeah.
I know that's very blunt, but
No, but
No,
they,
but it
and it
is.
happens.
like, and that's how I've gotten, like, I mean, I remember, Leo, I'd done one wedding with you. It wasn't even my wedding. It was Natasha Ray's.
Yeah.
And I just was going to give her a dig out. And then like a couple of weeks later, I'd gotten an email being like, oh, Lou Merryweather. And I was like, first of all, you're mad sound, Lou. Thanks so much.
Can we be friends?
Yeah, can we be friends? But like, you know what I mean? That's like, because when you arrive at work, like it is work and you have to be really conscious of like how you handle yourself and
Yeah.
how you are with the people you work with. Because I'm the same. Like I do say like there's like basically Natasha Ray and Lisa and then a couple of other artists. Like I'm like I owe my career to you.
yeah.
Because
yeah.
they put me on the recommendation list. Like
Yeah.
every second email for this year,
Yeah.
like that I've done came from Natasha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
which
know
is
what
great.
I mean? And it's based off of, I know that she knows she's recommending me because one, skill will do a good job.
You're reliable.
2, I'm not going to not show up. And 3, like,
And you're
you
a
know,
nice person.
and I'll be sound.
Yeah.
Might
You'll
not
be
be when I leave to my own family, but I will meet all of you.
But it's true. It's
yeah.
like obviously, like you work your way up to be good at what you do. But then, like, if you go into a room, because it's such an intimate setting, if you go into someone's houses, especially,
Yeah, 100%.
and hotels as well, like in the bed, you're in a bedroom. Do
Yeah,
you know, so
yeah,
it is
yeah.
intimate. There's a different level rather than walking into someone's sitting room. You know, it's just, if you walk in and your energy isn't there, or you're not friendly, or you're not like, and if you're not, I think you have to be calming as well. Like
Yeah.
people were just like, oh no, I remember how she made me feel, regardless of what the hair looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll remember how you made them feel. Because anyone that messages me after I've done their wedding, they talk more, they love the hair.
the hair's
but
at the
they
end of the
It is,
message.
it's almost
Yeah.
secondary.
Yeah.
And then the primary thing they say is that, you know, you made it the morning so special and you were so calming and you were
Yeah.
such a good laugh and blah, blah. And that's what people are left with. And
Yeah.
to me, I think that's like as important, if not more important,
Definitely.
than
100%.
what you do to their hair.
Because like we, you know, the years that we're all doing it, you guys a bit longer than me, but like when you do work with someone, and I recently did a wedding and there was a bit of a like hairdressers trying to leave while hair was only pinned and you know and wanted a room by themselves away from everything, and there was just this like buzz then,
Yeah.
you know, and
It
then
just ruins
it
the
ruins the
atmosphere.
atmosphere, and it's like
The other thing as well, it's not about us.
no,
Not about
No.
us at all.
No.
It's about the client on the day, the
Yeah.
bride, you
Yeah.
know, and the mother of the bride. I always want to make sure the mother of the bride and the
Yeah.
bride are happy. And the
Yeah.
bridesmaids as well. But like, I just feel if the mom and the bride are happy,
Yeah.
yeah,
the
and
morning
the
just
bridesmaids
goes-
will be happy because they're happy.
Of
You know,
course.
it's like that ripple effect.
And
yeah.
you can always just feel it if one of the suppliers, and if whether it's hair, makeup, photographer, videographer, anyone that's in that setting, if they bring bad energy in, the whole room
Straight away
feels
you
it.
feel it.
Yeah,
straight
you do.
away.
Oh, yeah, like that. It might not be hair and makeup.
Yeah.
And then a photographer is, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and like everyone feels that when the photographer is
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, allergic to getting the photo taken. But like most photographers are sound and they come
Yeah.
in, they're like, oh, just ignore me.
And that's it.
da-da-da-da.
90% of the time, all suppliers are deadly.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we've a really successful industry, because
So
everyone
successful.
can recommend one another because everyone knows.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if for any reason you were sick like tomorrow and you do a wedding, you know that
have
there's
backup.
reliable,
Yeah.
and not people that are just reliable because they're free, reliable because
they're
really
good.
good.
Yeah.
Like I'd never have that fear. Like I was saying before we recorded, like when my mum was in the hospice and she'd taken that kind of first turn, and I knew from that point I couldn't work.
Yeah.
Like I had a bride on the tube. I like obviously you like the pain in your stomach.
You
You're
feel
like,
like vomiting.
oh
Yeah.
my God, I cannot
Horrendous,
believe
yeah.
I have to do this. And I'd never, ever, ever had to do it on a bride before.
know.
And I was like, oh my God. But like that, I think once you go and you organise someone really good, reliable, and you kind of hand it to them with a ribbon on top,
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
they'll be fine.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. Do you find though there's a resistance have you ever had to do that, and or maybe use not personally, but there's a resistance with brides when people are having to change?
Yeah,
you know,
I
due to
suppose
circumstances.
it depends on the circumstance. Obviously, we would have had to cancel brides because we had COVID, or we were close contacts of COVID.
Right,
So, like when it
okay.
was,
So
you
you
know,
did
at that
have to,
point, so
yeah.
you did.
See, I never got COVID.
Yeah,
Wow.
So yeah.
And so we
well, if I
couldn't.
did, I didn't.
Yeah, you
I
didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's awful. And actually, I've had COVID twice. The first time I got it, I felt so horrendous, and actually having to find replacements.
You were so
and
sick.
when all I just wanted to do was put my head in the bed. And we had our
Yeah.
masterclass.
We had a masterclass booked
Yeah.
that weekend too.
And so it is
Double
awful because
whammy.
you're like, I hate letting people down. You would never let anyone down.
No,
Like,
no,
bride-
no.
like,
Yeah.
for a wedding. Your arm could be hanging off and you'd still go on, I have a good arm. Like, this arm's grand. You know, you just wouldn't.
Yeah.
But like you had to, so you'd no choice in the matter. And but like I wouldn't cancel on a bride unless I was like, even if I had a vomiting bug, I just wouldn't.
no,
I'd
you
just
just
wear a
go.
mask and I'd
wear
go.
a mask and go.
But like
yeah.
unless like yourself, you know, someone was really sick, family member was really sick, or you know, like I remember there was who was it? Was it the Unveiled stylist? What's her name?
Amanda, no.
Amanda, yeah.
Amanda.
Her car flipped on the motorway.
Sorry?
Yeah, flipped. She was in a
Oh
car
my
crash.
God.
But thankfully she was all right. I'm sure it was Amanda. Yeah, it was. Her car flipped over on the motorway and went into a verge, and she got the rescue
not-
people to bring her.
Was that not
No.
Joanne?
No, it happened to Joanne as well.
Oh.
Sorry,
but
she got the
Amanda
rescue
got the
people.
rescue people to bring her to the wedding to do the hair.
See,
No, like that. I'd be like,
she's
and
the best.
also like
the award goes. to
yeah, she wins. She wins. You know what? Let's just end the
Why
podcast.
is she not on the
that note.
podcast?
Yeah. Why did I bring you two here?
Can you imagine?
Get Amanda in.
I just went over on the motorway,
Like,
flipped over.
but I'm
and-
all right, I'm here.
And imagine
landed on my roof.
arriving.
Yeah.
Imagine arriving and everyone's all buzzing and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm here, but I've just
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
like, yeah. But but you know what? I think I'd probably do the same. If I was physically
yeah,
able,
same,
I'd be
definitely.
there.
Yeah.
I'd be there.
And
Like,
wasn't it? Remember we had the really bad snow, and wasn't it Joanne Kelly had to get like
Anne-Marie Doherty, she got a tractor.
Oh, she got a tractor. To
No.
the vet.
That's because she's down the sticks.
she got a tractor
She's the only supplier that got to her bride that year.
on a tractor.
She made the papers and everything.
No. Stop. But like,
The Mead Chronicle.
no, stop. Like, but I do it as well if I
Yeah.
had the
Yeah.
resources.
You would.
Because like that feeling of like this is the biggest, like it's a day of work for us, but you have to
Yeah.
remind yourself it's the biggest day of
That's
their
it.
lives so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like you have to be there, and also they've booked you like because they really want you.
Yeah, I
like
know.
you know, like it's
And you've done a trial and you've built a relationship
Yeah.
with them,
Yeah.
and they feel like you're friends, and they think you're their friend. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So to have to let them down is really disappointing.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like I had a personal issue this year, and there was just one bride that I couldn't do. Now I had got a replacement, a really good replacement, and actually it ended up she was one of the bridal stylists that she had on her list that she wanted.
Oh, perfect.
So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
great. It worked out, but I was like,
Oh yeah,
physically
sick.
ill.
Yeah,
You
sick.
know,
yeah.
that I couldn't do it.
No, it is. It's awful. It's awful. And what are speaking of like all these madness things, crazy things that have happened? What is that? Because you know, like every time you probably you do a wedding, people are like, "Have you had a bridezilla? What's the worst thing that's ever happened?"
Every
And you're
wedding
like,
they ask you.
every wedding,
Yeah.
and you're
Well,
like. But has there been I don't mean a bridezilla story, because I think that's slightly unfair to ask, because some people are just up the walls. And we'll take all that into account, and half as Annex wouldn't have gone amiss, but here we are.
Just open the bubbles.
Just open. Yeah, I'd be like, come here, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Half nine.
It's 5
open
o'clock
it,
anywhere. Open it. Do you know what? No judgment.
Give me a
Do you know
glass
what?
too.
I'll have a bottle.
If you can't do it today, when can you do it?
Yeah. Oh, stop. It's so true. It's so true. But has there been, even like with hair, has there been a scenario that maybe you're like, whoa, that was intense, or like I should share that story because someone would learn something from it?
Yeah, I remember having a bride, and she'd this gorgeous, naturally curly hair. She was an American bride. She came to me for a trial because she was marrying a Dublin guy. She came to me for a trial, and we just really like encouraged her own curl and went up with it right and left some curls down. It was absolutely gorgeous. And she was having a really, really big bridal party. And we got there in the morning, and she was like a different person. She was so stressed. Like,
I hate that when you walk in and it's not the person you've met, because you're like, it catches you off guard a little
I was
bit.
Surprised. Yeah. So she kept saying, I have to be on my own, and she kept leaving. There was too many people in the room. But anyway, when it was her turn to sit down, she just had a wobble, and she was like, I think I'll just straighten it all. And I was like, what?
Oh God.
And she's like, yeah, I think I'm just going to smoothen it all out, and I think I'm going to put it up in this. And then she was calling people over, what do you think? And what do you think? And before I knew it, there was like 5 of them around me, and they were all, I said, no, hang on. Sorry, excuse me. I never do this. And I had an assistant.
I know, sometimes you have to,
I had an assistant with me at the time, and she was like, whoa, I've never seen you. I just said, I need you all to step away.
Yeah.
And I had a chat with her, and I was like, listen, you love your hair curly. Just remember, we had a trial. You loved your trial. You're looking at all these bridesmaids with soft, silky hair, and they've different hair than you. Your hair is different. It's unique. That's you.
Yeah.
Please don't change your mind at the last minute.
Yeah, because we know you'll regret it.
Yeah.
You don't see it, but you will.
And so she did. She kept the original plan, and she sent me a lovely card afterwards and was like, I am so glad you calmed me down, because she said I was going off on one. I don't know where I was. That wasn't me.
Oh, yeah, stress.
You know, and I was glad I took control, because sometimes I'd be very much, okay, we'll do whatever you want. Okay, it's your day. But no, I was like, no, I can't let this happen. You kind of need to read the room and know when it's your place to take control of a situation and go, now I've actually more experience in this. I know this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And they do appreciate it.
That can take a good few years as well of doing it.
It can.
To do that. I would be very comfortable to do that now.
Yeah. So
whereas before I'd be like, whatever. I'll take 5 opinions on board.
Yeah. I'll do a half up, down, straight, curly with a plait. No problem.
And stick a tiara on.
Yeah. Literally. And head of extensions, is that no problem?
Lovely.
Yeah. No, it does come.
The bridesmaids
with,
probably thought I was like the rudest bitch, but
you're not rude with the Shauna. Like,
no,
you're
I
firm.
just had to.
Yeah. And I think when people in the moment, I'd say I've been the same, because I would just be like, because I'm quite a open, chatty person anyway, and I think because I managed, like anyone who's Mac and managed like Grafton Street, you're like, you can control a room.
Yeah.
That gave me like really good experience in that. So like there's been times where I've like been and like that I've gotten messages from either like bridesmaids and brides being like, thanks so much for taking control. We were all out of control, but not in it. They're not out of control in a bad way. It's just nerves and stress, and people they spend so much and overthinking. It's like I'm not even engaged now, but like I've obviously never been a bride, but the experience, and I remember one, and she was so overcome with emotion that she had like her husband to be in holding her hand while I was doing her makeup, and then a bridesmaid on the other side. But it nearly it was overwhelming her more, and I had to actually ask like
just
everyone to actually leave the room. She
needed
needed
a moment.
a whole room. Like, do you know that way? And afterwards, you're like a bit of a crazy bitch now asking them to do that.
No, but
you know. Yeah, you do know.
I do find that the more people that are there in the morning,
it's
the more
chances of it going up.
not even
in the air.
going like tits up, but just like there's so much noise
Yeah.
around, and it can be overwhelming for the bride. I think the bride sometimes can need, and it depends on their personality as well. But I know for me, I would need less people there on the
Yeah.
morning
Yeah,
if it was
same.
me.
I'm
And-
triggered by like loads of noise.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no.
I
Yeah.
find even myself though, like if I'm really concentrating on what I'm doing and there's loads happening and the music is really loud, I'm a bit like, oh God.
Yeah, I can sometimes
Yeah.
go super quiet.
Yeah, because you're trying to
Just zone
Out.
out
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
that and concentrate
Especially
on what
doing
you're
an
doing.
up style.
Oh
Because
God,
you're
yeah,
like,
there's
oh
a
my
lot
God, I
of
need to
thinking.
concentrate.
Yeah,
Jeez,
I
I
could
don't
do
know
an
how
old
to-
Hollywood wave with my eyes closed.
Yeah, yeah.
And a bottle of wine.
And sometimes she has.
Don't mind her. Delete that bit.
Don't.
no, it's in. It's all in. Oh, it's all out today.
The first step to getting help is admitting it.
Did my kids ring
This
you?
is actually, what do you call those things? An intervention.
Intervention. Yeah, we actually
knew
brought
they
you
were
here
all
today,
yeah, you're
Shauna.
through there.
I knew they're all going to start coming out of that
Yeah.
corner. aren't they? Ma'am, it's time.
A straight jacket.
Oh, stop. Where would we be without the wine, though? Yeah. And Lou, have you got any moments that stick out like that for you?
No, she's amazing.
Yeah, you're like, no, I'm actually brilliant at
No, I
controlling
mean,
everything.
I've had loads of mornings where there's been like, oh God, the stress. But like, and I don't think we get a lot of bridezillas in Ireland, especially.
I don't
just don't
think so
think people
either.
tolerate it.
Yeah.
So you're like, your mother wouldn't let you away with it, or your father,
True,
or your
yeah.
friend, or we just don't. We don't engage with that
Very
type of
true.
thing. So you don't get a lot. Obviously, you do get different personality types, and sometimes you don't always get the chemistry with your bride. Do you know? But no, I don't really have a story. Like,
And that's actually a good point, though, on the chemistry with a bride, because I think it is really important that like you're not best friends with everyone for a reason.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna like be best friends with every bride.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
you're not gonna have that. Like, because I've had friends who are like, oh, like we just like I'm dreading doing that. And I'm like, don't worry, like you don't. Just because you're not gelling the way you
Yeah.
do,
Yeah,
like
you can still
she's
do-
hired you for your skill,
Exactly.
so go in with
Yeah.
that confidence.
exactly.
you know?
And if you don't have, like, if you don't gel and become like overly friendly with each other, that doesn't mean like
That yous aren't
it doesn't
meant to
work.
be.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not
or
meant to
you
be.
haven't done a good
Because you still
job.
do your job and you're polite to each other and you might have a little giggle
Yeah.
and stuff, but like, and that's grand. Then you say goodbye to each other and you never talk again, and that's all right.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Like, there's some of my brides that I've, follow them on Instagram, and now I'm seeing they're having their babies.
I know, I love that.
I
Yeah.
love that.
You see all their
and you still
milestones.
talk to
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
every week, and I love that. And there's one bride in particular who's an American bride, and like follow her, and she's got 2 kids now, and and I love watching her life and like
Yeah.
the back arse of America, and
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
amazing.
I was only saying that to somebody the other day. Like, when you see the bump picture, then you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Where- and you're trying to work out, were you pregnant?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
No, it's
yeah.
nice. It's
No,
nice.
And
it
some
is
of them
nice.
tell you that they're expecting, and no one
And
knows.
no one knows.
Yeah, and
yeah,
you're like,
I've had that. Yeah, you're like,
you're the
I'm privy.
first.
I'm privy.
I'm privy to this. I'm going to tell everyone.
Yeah, yeah,
Putting it on my story
yeah,
tonight.
yeah, yeah.
What do you think of my pregnant bride? Blooming.
So we're not getting any work after this podcast.
That's not all my weddings for next year, can
yeah, yeah. Oh, stop. And a piece of advice. So I put up on on my own social media, being like, I'm going to have wedding experts on. Didn't say who, and if there was anything you'd ask. So there was a general consensus around budget, and one question box stuck out to me, and she literally in capital letters wrote, "Will I regret everything I spent?" And
Are
I
you
was
crazy?
like, "Whoa!" But from someone like.
If she spends it on us, no.
Yeah, yeah.
Who have you got booked?
I was literally like, will I ask her who she's got booked? But what would you respond to that question?
You pay for what you get.
Yeah, you do.
Basically.
You
And
definitely
it's
do.
not only, like, people think, oh, come on, that's a lot of money for just
A morning.
5 hours work or whatever. It's not 5 hours. You have your admin. You have, like, you could have 20 emails between you and one bride.
Oh, yeah.
At
Yeah,
least.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then, you're planning out your morning. You're getting up. Like, I was up last weekend for 2 of my weddings. I left my house before 5 a.m.
Yeah,
So I was up like at 4.
yeah.
you know, drove 2 hours, did the wedding, 2 hours back. Like, I was fit for nothing. I ended up in bed like most of Saturday evening, and then got up and had something to eat and went back to bed.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not just that 5 hours, you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work in the background that people don't realise. Then you have your social media, you have all of that stuff that just takes time, and that's what they pay for.
And
They
I was
pay
going to
for
say,
you.
I don't think they think people understand that all exists because of the work. Like, you know, like you follow this page of all this beautiful hair
Yeah.
because of, like, you know.
And the Instagram, the social media
Oh my God.
is like a
Massive.
full-time job.
Massive.
I
This
love
comes up in
Instagram. I
every
love
podcast.
doing my posts and my reels. But
But sometimes you don't get to do them because one,
Yeah.
you don't get a good picture, the lighting is crap, or else you just don't have the time on the day to take videos and pictures. And it could have been an amazing job, and you're like,
know.
oh,
yeah, and you
I
need to be
just-
raging,
Yeah.
don't you?
So you don't always get to take the pictures of your work.
But it's a full-time job doing your social media, your admin, your emails. We're kind of good at doing emails. Like we won't leave them sitting.
Oh no, God, no!
I
wouldn't
can't.
leave
No,
them
I'm
sitting.
the
can't
same.
leave
So
them sitting.
I do like every 48 hours to 72 hours I sit down. So I probably do like 3 evenings a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
or if during the day, if I'm not working,
yeah.
I'll do,
Yeah.
I can't
I
either.
can't. I get anxiety if people are sitting in my
Yeah.
inbox.
Yeah, same.
So, and I know some people who are very good and just go, oh, I'll only I reply on
2 days a
Mondays,
week.
you know, or
Yeah.
Tuesdays, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that works for them. But like, there's a lot that goes on in the background behind the scenes. So like, you're paying like for the service, obviously, but you're also paying for, you know, all the training we've done, the
Yeah, the
background, all the
experience.
masterclasses, the experience, the products we use,
The tools, our
the
kit.
tools. Like the products you fly through the cans of hairspray, and like I only use like Kevin Murphy,
Yeah.
you know, all the good stuff, the
yeah.
Colour Wow products, and
And
they
they're
cost a
expensive.
fortune, and we don't get them pay for them the same as everyone else.
Yeah.
Like we don't get any discounts on
Yeah.
them, so it's, you know, you're paying for all of that in one package. And then you're paying, I think as well, like I'm so used to walking into a wedding morning now that I don't even think about it. I used to get times where I couldn't sleep the night before.
Yeah.
Whereas now I just walk in and do
Yeah.
my thing. And I think, and like, you know, you can hold the room by yourself when
Yeah.
you arrive, and, you know,
Absolutely.
and then having like a good personality and gelling with all the other suppliers, that all adds to
all
the
part of the
experience on the
package.
morning.
Yeah, and like that's I think really important. Like when you say expertise, it's your skill, but it's your expertise in the industry.
Yeah.
Like so, you might have years experience as a hairdresser, but paying for someone who's got years of experience that can actually run the show for you.
Yeah.
Because we all three of us sitting here now, if it went tits up in the morning, that we could take control of it. And,
Absolutely take control.
And another thing is, like in my kit, I have a sewing kit, I have a first aid kit, I have safety pins, I have all of that.
She's deadly. I
because
don't have any of them.
I bring a speaker. I honour.
Yeah, that's a good
pride
idea.
myself.
I have
in
a
me
bought a
Spotify
speaker.
with no ads.
my speaker's in Killishy.
You're oh no! Oh no!
But it's so it's all those things that
Yeah.
you learn along the
Yeah,
way. Like I can't think of the amount of times I've helped people into their dresses. You know,
yeah, shoot, you're on your hands and knees.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, all of those things, knowing that the bouquets have to be taken out of water like half an hour
And
beforehand.
they say that,
and
like,
you know,
I've often had Mother of the Bride saying, "Oh my God, we would have been lost without you. We haven't
Yeah.
got a clue."
Every
Yeah.
nearly like
Yeah.
for me. Okay, so this year was like my like this was like I did a wedding in Doolin on about 3 weekends ago. But I did a wedding in Kilkenny, drove from Kilkenny to Doolin, down to Doolin. Bride was absolutely amazing. And her mom, I put up her mom's review like on my Instagram story.
Oh, the moms always
I-
give you a great review.
Bawled.
Yeah.
I bawled. But then her sister messaged me. She sent me a message. Then she sent me an email, but all of them it was all based around like, it was like the flowers out of the water. Girls, get dressed. You're
dressed.
arsing around now there.
Yeah.
You know, like
you almost
and
become a coordinator.
Yeah.
on
that's
the
what they
morning.
We're
said.
wedding planners.
In the review, she was like, and I was like, but you know what? That's come from experience
Yeah.
now. Like I didn't have that when I started 3 and 4 years ago.
No, 'cause you didn't have a clue.
And
Yeah.
And a lot of the
hairdressers
time,
are
it's the first wedding of the family, so they haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
Like,
First
so they-
rodeo.
First
Yeah,
rodeo. So
first
they
rodeo.
need guidance, and that's
Yeah.
what you pay for. And you know what? On that whole budget thing, there is a stylist for everyone.
Yeah.
You
Because
know.
I agree, and I didn't. So, and for anyone who is starting now, I didn't understand like that. There's a makeup artist or a stylist or a photographer for everyone. I was like, if I don't get booked, it's because I'm shit.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that
It's
was
not.
my and now I'm like, oh, I know the brides that
Yeah.
are me.
Yeah.
And I know the brides that are like, even to the point where like I know the brides that are, let's say, like Lisa and Natasha. And then I know the brides that are for me, and then the brides that are for people with less and less years, or whatever way,
Yeah.
it tiers in terms of budget, that way. But before, I used to just see that as a
yeah.
failure. Like,
I'm
I
rubbish.
didn't
No,
get
it's
that
not.
booking.
Yeah.
Didn't get that booking.
But sure,
They
I
didn't email
immediately,
back.
I started, like, I remember when I first started sending out quotes, and I used to do it on my laptop, and I'd close my laptop down after I sent a quote because I'd be like,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
worth it. And now, like, my prices have obviously gone up over the years, and
of course.
now I don't think twice about it because I feel worthy of that price.
Exactly.
And I know that it's not for everyone, and some brides have come back and said, oh, sorry, you're way out of my budget. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Here's a list of other people that you might like to try. And whereas previously to that, I probably would have been like, okay, I'll give you like €100 off.
I'll do your math for nothing.
But no, yeah.
And
No.
do you know what? They're the ones. So this year, as I said, it's just been a real, and that's why I really wanted you guys on, because obviously the podcast, it's about careers and development and all of that, and lifestyle, and like this year has been such a learning for me. So I really wanted to have this conversation for people to hear it who are at the same expertise as you guys, who are starting out for anywhere.
Yeah.
Because like the whole like knocking off €100. What happens to me though is like
begrudger.
I begrudge. I'm like nearly like I need to now. I know that for next year I've given the price that
It's
I've
non-negotiable.
but that I've put on myself.
Yeah.
And I'll work. You will get the fucking best version of me
Absolute
for
best.
that.
And you'll
Yeah.
feel great. You will
Yeah.
go there and you'll do your best work because you know that you're being paid enough for your, like, it's the
For
value
how
of
much?
you.
Yeah, I've put a value on myself and my
yeah.
time, and whereas I haven't in the
know.
past, like driving to like I've done Kenmare this year, I've done Doolin, and like when I if I talk to other makeup artists out, they're like, oh, did you for that price? All right, sure.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I used to be the same.
Because you're like, oh, the experience. Don't get me wrong, don't regret it. Had fabulous brides,
Yeah.
great experiences, and like here
But
we
I
are, and the
think
bills
you-
are paid. But
You have
like,
to do it though to
Yeah, you
get
do.
where you are. Like,
Yeah.
you have to do all those things.
Yeah.
you
And I
know.
do think it's important to feel like everyone was telling me to put up my prices when I didn't feel I was good enough to put up my prices. So for me, I thought I'm not doing that until I feel I'm worthy of that.
Yeah.
Now, it takes a long time and not everyone's like that. But for me, it's a personal choice as well. Like there's some people out there who aren't as good and charge a fortune and don't think twice about it.
Yeah,
so it's,
yeah.
You know, it's trying to find the balance.
Yeah, of what you're comfortable with as well.
Yeah.
But no, I think definitely like a really good message for people when you're self-employed is put a value on yourself, and you kind of can't waver it, because I've wavered it, and then I'm like, I'm not the best version of me.
No.
You know,
and the other
for
thing
it.
is that'll come with experience. So like this time next year, you'll feel very different to how you do now.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Do you know?
yeah,
Because you'll have more
absolutely.
weddings under your belt.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people is I unless I've done loads of weddings, I can't, move my prices up. When I was starting out,
Yes.
obviously.
Yeah.
I can't increase my prices until I know I've got this many weddings under my belt and I've got the experience. And
100%.
I'm not worried about going into a room and someone showing me an upstyle that I can't do.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yes, yeah, and yeah, or a scenario that you can't also
That you
deal
can't
with.
handle.
Yeah, because as we said, that all goes part and parcel.
Yeah.
And then for brides, what would be, so you guys having all that expertise under your belt, what is, if you had to give brides listening one piece of advice for the morning of their wedding, and then a piece of advice when they're picking suppliers, because that just came into my head there.
Yeah.
We'll car park that for a minute. But one piece of advice for the morning of their wedding, what would you say?
I would say, hands down, only have people there that lift you up
I was
and
going to say
keep
the
you calm.
exact same thing.
Because
Pick
I've
your
seen
people
it
well.
Yeah.
that they've had them there because they felt they had to have them there, and it's just gone tits up. They've caused stress. They've
Yeah.
taken, the focus off them, or they've just been whiny or whingy, or just, even if they're not like that, they just have a negative energy. Like, I've seen it. And so just make sure the people you have there are people that you would want to be around, you know, on a night out or at a time of need, or, you know, because you feel all the emotions on a wedding morning. There's times where you're crying, there's times where you're laughing, there's times where you're just like, oh, I just need a bit of space. And you just need people around there who just are able to provide all of that.
Yeah.
You know,
brilliant.
and that goes even for family. You know, doesn't, not just friends, like family as well, because sometimes family are worse.
Yeah. If you're calmer with just your pals,
and don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about who you have there. Don't feel bad about having a small bridal party. Don't feel bad about having a big bridal party. Just do whatever you want.
Yeah, what's right for you.
And what's right for you.
Yeah, because you can sometimes tell the relationships, can't you? You're like, are you even friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel it straight away if there's a vibe between two people. Like,
Yeah,
I can read it so quickly.
Absolutely. Same.
Yeah, you become really good at reading people.
Yeah.
I think my bit of advice, other than that would probably be my number one. You know, a lot of people want to get married, want to get ready at home, you know, because their mom and dad and all of that. But sometimes the house, especially if they have a big bridal party, is just not suitable for a makeup artist to set up. Like, the makeup artist has so much stuff.
Oh, like we take over
a big table.
A room.
Like,
because then you've ring lights, you've chairs.
Yeah, like, and then you have us then who need a table as well, and we need sockets and we need lighting and all of that. So we end up sometimes in houses being crammed into a room that's not suitable. And then, I don't know about you, Lou, but I find if my setup is not great, like I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I drop things.
So a lot of venues now have prep rooms. Like, I had a girl one time, and she was the nicest girl when she came for her trial, and she was like, she was getting married in Ratsala, and I don't know if you've been to it, but Ratsala's prep. Oh my God, it's just excellent for hair and makeup.
It's huge. Flat room, lovely and airy, the big window.
They have everything that we need. And I think for them, because they're not separated, so they can have their food, they can have everything all in the one room with the hair, the makeup and everything. But this particular girl was getting married there, and she had a really big bridal party. Like, I had an assistant, so I'd bring an assistant if I have more than 7. So I said to her, so where are you getting ready that morning? I'm in Ratsala. And she said, oh no, I have an apartment up in Arran Key.
Where's Arran Key?
It's on
like
the Keys.
On the Keys, in town.
And I was like, you what? So there's 9 of you, then me and my assistant, and then 2 makeup artists.
And you can't even,
God.
and parking and all.
I was like, where am I going to park? And stress. So I just said to her, like, why are you not getting why are you not getting ready in Ratsala? Have you seen it? And she was like, I don't know, the timing. And I said, no, seriously, you need to do this. You need to get ready there.
Yeah,
and on the morning, she just kept looking at me going, I can't believe I was thinking of getting ready in my apartment.
So she did get ready in
she changed her mind.
Yeah, because you know, like Ballymacgarvey, Boyne House, like loads of them have those prep rooms.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes price and budget comes into it, because it's like an extra.
It's the best money. Yeah,
every penny
worth every penny.
Definitely worth every penny.
Because even cooking and all, like, remember Shauna at the wedding that we had done, and like when you're cooking in the heat, and especially in the summer and houses, it just can be, you know, it can be a lot.
Very
like,
busy, unless they have this amazing big room that they can just leave you in it, and they can go off and do their thing and come in when they're needed, when we need them. But it's very rare you get a house like that. You know? So if you have it in your budget, I think you should definitely consider going to one of the prep rooms. Definitely.
Yeah. Or like that, getting a space that isn't your space. Yeah, because I think it's really old. It's really old school, isn't it? People get ready in their parents' houses.
And it can be manic for the mum. I find the poor mum just be sweating, running around the place, cooking up and down. Like, I had a wedding recently, and the hook and eye on the bridal dress just was not there. Like, and it was really obvious the top of the dress was wide open. So she started like cutting them off a bra upstairs, like pulling a bra out, cutting off the little hook and sewing it into the dress. And the poor mother was sweating. She had the hat and everything on. Like,
like she was ready.
And I was like, God, that poor woman hasn't stopped all morning. She hasn't enjoyed this morning at all. You know, like, so.
Whereas they're a bit more pampered when
they're in.
And
they get their breakfast brought to them, and they have their tea, and they're
moving to the ceremony is much easier as well.
Definitely.
Because when you're in your dress and you've got your makeup done and you're moving stuff, oh my God, it's a nightmare.
Nightmare.
Even if it's cold, like, and it's not a hot day, it's just everyone's like, oh my God, I'm roasting.
Yeah. That's actually always been, whenever friends or anything, I'm like, why are you getting ready?
Yeah.
Why are you getting ready?
Yeah.
Don't
It's
go already
a
home.
big part. to
Yeah.
play.
Another piece of advice I give as well is delegate. Delegate, delegate, delegate. If you have a large bridal party especially, you need to give each person jobs. Because if you have a large bridal party, they'll all think the other is doing something for you.
Yes.
Whereas if you're sitting down getting your hair and makeup done, like you're talking probably the guts of 3 hours in the chair between hair and makeup
Yeah, and
for
see
the bride.
the hopping in and out of the chair.
And having to do this and having to get this. Delegate, give everyone a job to do on the morning.
Yeah.
And obviously you can answer questions and stuff like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But just don't be getting up out of the chair to do this and do that.
Yeah, so I've nearly started to say to my brides, like when they, because makeup kind of starts when photographers kind of tend to
Yeah.
arrive
Oh,
and
God,
that,
I know.
because you don't want them near the end,
Yeah.
you don't want them near, and it's kind of that time. And I always say to brides now, like, nearly a piece of advice is like, look, when they come in, don't feel the need you have to get out of the chair. They will come to you and
Yeah.
they're just going to say hello
Yeah.
and do their own thing. But because I was like, the hopping in and out, like it's nearly happened where like I'm like, your trial makeup was like a fraction
Better.
polished
Yeah.
more because you were sitting still and
Yeah.
there's no sweat and
Yeah.
there's all of those things. Yeah, I think that's a massive piece. Like when
Yeah.
your flowers come,
Send
Shauna,
someone out.
bridesmaid,
Yeah.
you're going to be in charge when the flowers come because
Check
I'm
the
going to be getting my
flowers.
makeup done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And in terms of the wedding industry as an industry within we work in, is there any changes you would like to see made to it as an industry?
Oh, God.
No.
I don't know.
No, that's okay. That's not a trick
Well,
question.
No, I think it's funny. I thought our wedding industry was the same in every country. But actually, I've spoken to a few suppliers based in the UK and they're like, yous are all so close. You all help each other. There's no
do.
competition. And there is
Yes.
competition between us, obviously. But we don't act like there's competition
No.
between
Yeah,
us.
it
And
happens
obviously there's
naturally more
people
so.
who are competitive and will step over you. But we're all very close. We're all very good at helping each other out. I don't feel like anyone's better than me. I don't feel like, I need to step over someone and fight for my work because there's enough work to go around for all suppliers. And no, I think we're very good. I think we've all got a great relationship. And I just accepted that was the norm until people from other countries were saying, no, that's not the norm. And from a few, from Scotland and from the UK and from Wales, a few people have said it to me. They're like, no, that's not how it is
it's
over
dog
here.
eat dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is. I think we're very lucky because we do have a great network of support within our industry, like hair and makeup and like that. We recommend each other and all. I do think, though,
I know what you're going to say.
I do think people are a little bit ratty this year. We're all tired. We're overworked. We've doubled probably our amount of work. And I'm starting to see a little bit of rattiness, you know.
Yeah.
And I've one or two people have said, "Oh, such a bad," and I'm like, you know what? We're all tired. We're
Yeah.
all overworked.
What's an example of that?
An example is, there's a little bit of. I'm probably going to be shot for saying this.
No, you won't
Shall
be.
we
You're on the
just-
Beauty of Truth
Truth,
podcast.
we just might as well
Speak
say
your
it.
truth.
Speak
If
the
you can't do it here, you can't do it anywhere.
There's a bit of between photographers and hair and makeup at the moment. I
agree.
I've had the experience.
So if you're
firsthand.
shot, I'll be shot
So
after you.
have I.
Okay, so we're all under time pressure, and our time is just as important as everybody's time. Okay, so we go in very early in the morning, we get set up, we do, and when we're finished, we need to get our shot. We need to get our little video. Now, it doesn't always work out, but we try our best to get our shot. And I'm finding photographers are a little bit pissed off with us. They're like, move over, come on, it's our turn.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of that. And also they're starting to tell their brides that they want them ready. Let's say the original plan was they want to be in their dress for 1.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
new.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. So they're saying now, I'll get a call, I'll get an email maybe 3 days before going, actually, I need to be ready for 12. And I'm like, oh, right, have you changed your ceremony time? No. So this is because the photographer has said, just tell them that you need to be ready for 12. So then there's an extra hour. Well, I'm like, that's why I had to leave my house at 4:45 the other morning because I was told I had to start earlier, to finish earlier, than to stand around for an hour and 15 minutes.
So this
waiting to put the veil on.
This happened to me on Saturday. So
It
I
happened
was
to me on Saturday
So
too.
I was asked to be there at told ceremony was had to be ready, gone for 11:30, and ceremony was at 1.
Yeah, no.
And I was like,
Yeah.
so if I'm told 11:30, really that's 11.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you have to work back. You're
Yeah,
thinking,
you-
I have
yeah.
to finish at this time so you have enough time to get dressed. And that's
Yeah, so I was
exactly
there
what
at 6
happened.
a.m. and there was I actually nobody came down to me till 7:15.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and I actually heard the photographer saying to the bride, see, it didn't work out well, that plan.
Oh God.
No, I actually was so angry. I was
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
you're tired. Yeah,
And I
yeah,
ju-
yeah. And
you
it's
know,
unnecessary.
No.
It's unnecessary. Like,
unnecessary.
my time is just I'm standing there then, kind of going, I could have been in bed for this hour.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I'm driving in the middle of the night. It's dangerous. It's,
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like
it's
just-
and it's
Yeah.
completely unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
I would always ask the bride, what time does your photographer want you ready? I'll always ask that, because you don't know. Sometimes they're doing if they're doing a first look, or if
Of
they want
course,
the
yeah.
family photos done before the ceremony, and that's fair enough. So I would always ask, and if there's no valid reason for them being ready at say 11:30 for a 1:30 ceremony, I'll be like, why do you need to be in your dress at that time?
Yeah. And
Because if you're in your dress at 11:30 and you're not getting married till 1:30, your nerves will be up the wall.
Yeah.
Like,
and anything could happen.
yeah, it's the time. As soon as you're in your dress, that's when the nerves kick in.
Yeah.
I find anyway.
Oh, it
in
is.
my
People
experience.
are like, oh, I'm a bride now.
But I would always aim to have brides ready an hour before the ceremony, and I think that's plenty.
Well,
of
Well,
time.
that's I always ask, because I kind of it's not that I'm like, I don't care what your photographer says, we'll all work together.
No, absolutely.
But I go by what time is your ceremony and
And
where
work
are we
back
getting
from there.
ready and how
That's
far
it.
away are you?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I work an hour beforehand. Because
Yeah.
you're a lot of the time, because if someone wants really minimal makeup or whatever, you've got more time than that
Yeah.
then anyway.
Yeah.
But
It's funny. I was working with Elaine Barker, photographer. Do you know Elaine?
Yeah,
I love Elaine. And I kept asking her, where do you want me to put the veil on? Where do you want me to? And she's like, why? Just do your thing. I'll get the shot. Just do your thing. So that's the flip side of it. So
Yes.
she's very much in the background, just taking shots. She never sets it up.
Yeah.
She's just, and so it depends what type of photographer you get. So I love working with a photographer like that, that's just in the background and is
Yeah.
just getting things as they're happening.
Because
There's no
also,
setup.
They're there for the rest of the day. Like when we
Yeah.
need to get that.
Yeah.
I've actually sometimes now said, I'm like, if I know who the photographer is, I'll be like, listen, I'm just letting you know, when you're fully ready, I would love a picture of you holding your flowers, hair and
Yeah.
makeup done. So just an FYI, I would like that.
Yeah.
I.e., I need that
Yeah,
because I get booked based on what I post on social
Yeah.
media. So without it, and I do agree. I do agree. It was I was like, I'll wait and see if anyone says it.
Yeah.
But
No.
yeah, it's I think it's really important because we tend to treat everyone really equally. That
Yeah.
when that's not there, it just makes things difficult.
I had a funny story. Do you remember a few weeks ago? We voice note each other and go like,
yeah. I'm like that,
rant.
my friend
And
Leah.
it's
Yeah,
so funny, and we just laughed. Once you get it off your chest, you're grand, and we
Yeah.
say to each other, it's
exactly.
fine.
Yeah,
But I voice noted her a couple of weeks ago. What happened to me was what we're saying about managing the room. I would often say, girls, to the bridesmaids, girls, it's probably time for you girls to get your dresses on because time and you need to be dressed to dress the bride. And with that, the photographer turned around and went, no. I want to get them in their robes putting the dress on. And I was like, oh, right. Well, that's a new one. It's normally the other way around.
yeah.
And he turned around and he went, you just stick to the hair, yeah? I was like, and everyone just looked. I was like, I couldn't even answer him. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
because you're
I'll just get back in my
slightly
box.
mortified. You're like, oh yeah, grand.
So by the time I got into my car, I was like, see you.
Who do you think you are?
So that was the end
Oh,
of that.
stop. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not, it's funny and we can laugh at it because that type of personality where you're like,
Yeah.
gassed. But the neck. But not okay. Also.
No, because it changed the atmosphere again.
You're
We're
not
just
okay.
like,
Because you
oh,
you
okay.
wouldn't talk
Does.
to them that way.
No.
Instead of him saying, I know that's probably unusual, but I like that shot, or grand. But
Yeah.
the way he was like, no, you just stick to the hair, yeah?
Oh my God. I had one where we were in a really small hotel room and my friend Leah O'Neill was doing the hair, and a photographer who was very, very visibly annoyed that I was taking pictures. But I was like, I don't care. Like, my family are fed off these photos. So
This is feeding me, kid.
yeah, like this is life or death. So you can just, I'm fucking ignoring you. But whatever way, like I had the ring light, and whatever way he shoved, kind of didn't
you told me
physically, and sent me flying, and the ring light flying, and I fell, and I wanted to die. I was like, getting up, like scrambling, like fixing me ring light and all. And I was like, and here's me,
Just
is that
physically
broke?
abused you.
I was physically, here's me to Leah for the whole day. I was physically assaulted, and she was like, "You want to fucking calm down?" And I was like, "Assaulted? I'm going to say it till someone gives a shit."
Imagine seeing her on the deck.
On the deck with the ring light. And you know what? I had just had a wedding where kids had been running around and a ring light had smashed.
Oh no.
So I was like,
Me
this
nerves.
is the only ring light happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, but so like I suppose before that I wouldn't, like, not that I wouldn't have agreed, but I wouldn't have experienced it. And then from that, and then recently with a lot of like timings to be ready for, and then this not
Ridiculous era.
getting. So I've actually gotten really like, no, I'm taking a picture now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is, you're here for the whole day.
Yeah.
I need 3 minutes.
But that's
Yeah,
what
and
I
it
was
is.
saying
It's
about
3 minutes.
Yeah, your time is just as much, as valuable as theirs. So,
Yeah,
you know.
100%.
And
And professional
also,
shots.
They don't
Oh,
show
no, I can't use
the
it.
hair or the makeup
And I
in the
love
same
when
light.
they send me pictures of myself doing hair and I have 4 chins.
No.
It's like,
And you're
do you
like,
think I'm going to post that? Like,
I know.
seriously, can you untag me in that?
yeah.
Thanks.
And
Yeah.
like, you're like, oh, I'm in that dress again.
I always look like a farmer's wife
Like-
doing hair. That's what I look like. I'm like a real jolly fat farmer's wife. With my triple chins doing hair. That's what I look like. I look like, the farmer's wife in Babe.
Oh. Image.
That's all I'm ever going to see now. I'm gonna like superimpose. I'll
show you.
That
I'll show
into-
you
yeah.
pictures.
Remember the pictures you sent me in
Hilarious.
WhatsApp a few weeks ago?
The Peter Carville ones.
stop.
Peter Carville.
Did he take them?
He took them.
Peter, what the hell? Peter's
I
normally
sent them.
very
I
good.
sent them on to him because the bride sent them to me. They're
Yeah.
stunning of her.
Of her, yeah.
I looked
But
like
she
someone.
zoomed in on herself,
Yeah.
right, and just sent the picture of her, so it was like magnified.
Magnified, yeah.
I could
Like that.
not stop laughing. Like I,
And I sent
like
them to
really
Peter.
having a
Going,
great time.
thanks,
Thanks for that, Peter.
Thanks, Mel.
nice one.
No, I know. I have been sent some, and I'm like, did I leave the house like that? That's
We
inappropriate.
arrive- No, but we do arrive looking all right,
Oh.
and then we just
And
go
then
out
you just
like
get
derailed.
dishevelled.
Yeah, dishevelled.
Dishevelled.
Yeah, by the end,
So
like
glam is
mascara
not-
is like down here.
And to be honest, sometimes we're getting up in the dark.
yeah.
I can't be
I
doing
can't be
makeup.
doing-
no,
yeah.
knickers inside out now.
Yeah.
the tag flapping around.
No, stop. I went to a wedding for leggings inside out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I went, and it was only when I went to the bathroom I was like, oh,
Oh no.
it was in Boyne Hill House, and I was like, oh, it's real
It's
bright
nice and
room.
dark there now.
Well, yeah, but
Oh.
so, and then during COVID, Shauna, you had started your own, the headpiece business. Tell us a little bit about that, because there's a lovely quote, and not to get too emotional, but it was something my mum always said. And it said, do what you love and success will follow.
Yes.
And my mum like drove that home.
Yeah.
That was, and I was just like, when I read it, I was like,
That's so true.
oh, so true. And
Yeah.
like, sometimes you feel you're meant to meet people, you're meant to
Yeah.
have conversations.
Yeah.
And it was obviously only a few days before we were doing this. So I was like, it kind of like, it gave me that like, oh, we're going to have a really good chat. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The three of us.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about that and that quote and just the whole idea.
Yeah, so like my dad would have been the same. He was real driven, and he was always about like find something you love and you will do really well. Like he was always kind of at that.
Yeah.
And I suppose the thing about I'm not one to be sitting around, like I don't do well, like, and the whole COVID
That's why
thing.
we're here. Podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
I just-
couldn't.
And I had been talking to another girl about you know, coming up with something and designing something. And I was a bit all over the place about it. And then I had time to think properly about it during lockdown. And I decided, so I had picked, like I had designed 7 pieces. And I suppose having the experience of knowing what suits, you know, what's needed, what works. You know, we've often been handed stuff the morning of a wedding and it could fall apart in your hand.
Especially for the mother of the bride.
Oh God.
All right, okay, interesting. I wouldn't have known.
Or
that.
like, you know, the proper clips aren't on them and all these things that, and it's too late, you know, it's too late. So with all that in my head, I was like, oh, you know what, I'd love to design a couple of pieces and just what I think people love. So I did, I sat down and I did, and it was all on my own. I couldn't meet up with anybody. So I have a girl that makes the pieces for me. So I was basically...
You design them?
I designed them. So we were dealing through email and text and WhatsApp and all of that through the whole time. And I was lucky enough that I had won a new website. And on the website was an e-commerce, like a shop. It just all fell into place. So I worked towards that. I was like, right, I'll launch the pieces when the website is ready. And we did. We worked on it. And yeah, I named each piece after my sisters, my son's girlfriend and my godmother who had passed. So it kind of, each piece means a lot, you know. And
you named one after yourself, which I think is brilliant.
Well, it was fun.
Yeah,
I did.
Gosh, a woman.
Because at the end of it, and I was like, oh my God, I still have one piece. And my sister said, well, if it's good enough for the Kardashians. I was like, is that not a bit? And she was like, no, just do it.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah.
And that's my favourite piece.
And that was my favourite piece.
Okay.
So
is that the one
with the Swarovski crystals, the gold
around?
hairband?
Yes.
Yeah.
Love.
It's stunning.
It's beautiful.
And there's lovely weight in them. They all go on the head beautifully.
Yeah.
Love them.
And you know, so it ended up launching on International Women's Day, just the way it fell.
Deadly.
And the website went live that
all meant to be.
It's all meant to be. Some things when
everything was aligned.
Yeah, 100% believe in that.
Yeah, and it just worked out really well. And it's gone great. It's been great. But I had in my head this year I was going to relaunch another, like a whole new range.
Amazing.
Called the Lou.
And Robyn. Just for the crowd.
I had a few glasses of wine in me one night. I was like, Lou, I've decided I'm going to name one of my pieces after you. The Lulu. She was like, that sounds like it should be in a porn.
The Lulu piece.
She was like, no, Shauna, seriously.
No, but do.
No.
Lou. Mary
Louise,
Lou.
maybe.
Mary Lou. Oh, stuff.
But I did plan on having the whole thing, a new relaunch this year, but we've just been so busy. It has been
carnage. Yeah, it's been carnage.
So I actually have a meeting now in November, and my plan is to relaunch a couple of new pieces, and
yeah, brilliant. No, it's great, isn't it? Though
exciting.
when it's really hard, I think this is a kind of a. Because I'm quite a busybody in terms of like, once I tick one box, I'm like, what's next? And when I don't have a next, I actually get really uneasy. Uncomfortable and uneasy and a bit down.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a bit like...
I like to have something in the pipeline.
Yeah, same. And that, like, podcasting was that for me during COVID, and it's been an amazing way to network with people.
I love it.
I'd love to.
I can't believe your confidence to sit there and you're just really good at
you're
it.
so good.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And you're very calming.
Yeah.
You're kind of like
thank
a
you.
hippie.
Oh, love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
Yeah.
I can tell you
I love a
never been called
hippie.
that before.
No, but you know, like that's probably not even the word to use anymore, but just...
She is quite calm.
Oh,
You can see her
thank
doing a
you.
yoga class after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could do with a few of them.
And
yes.
burning a bit of sage.
Yeah. Do love a bit of sage, white sage.
Smells like piss.
Yes. I know, but I do love it. I don't know what it does to me, but it does some good.
But that's, you're really good at it.
Oh, thank you.
And you're very good at asking questions.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, we're on to the right track then. So here we are: podcast awards, Stellar Awards, VIP Awards, Image Awards,
We'll
all the
vote for you.
awards. Thanks. Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you. But it's really hard, I think, to scale business. Like that's one of the hardest parts of business. Like when you get to a point where you're, you know, like your prices, you've valued yourself, you're busy, you've X amount of weddings a year, and there's a cap on it because of your energy levels as well. Like you can't
do this forever.
Yeah, and you also can't do it. How many days in a year? I don't fucking know, but like
come here.
you can't do it that many.
But that's it. Like I remember saying, what are you laughing at?
The link I sent to you of what I suggested we do when we can't do hair anymore.
No. She was actually serious about this,
What
right?
was it?
I was lying in bed with COVID, do you remember? And she was like, right, listen, here, I think we should go into this line of business when we're done doing weddings. And I was reading it going, is she fucking taking, is she on the wine at 11 o'clock in the morning?
What?
A doula.
I've
What's
never
a
heard
doula?
of it in my life. So it's basically, it's vagina therapy.
No.
It's kind of like you're
messing.
hired by an expectant mother
Okay.
to guide her through her pregnancy and childbirth, and even after she has the baby, the first few weeks of the baby's life.
People
So you
hire
don't-
people for that.
Yeah, so you can get qualified in
Like life coaching.
called
in,
full-
Oh yeah,
fully-
no, I this is what I plan to do when I can't do hair anymore.
No way.
Yeah,
No, like really seriously.
yeah.
I thought she was messing.
No, I always wanted to be a midwife.
I see. This is what I meant when
So-
I wanted to be a midwife.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I wanted to be a lot
yeah.
of things.
Yeah, same.
But this is what I think I could do after I can't do hair anymore. Now, that's not going to happen for years, but I just think it would be a lovely job.
Yeah, because
you're still
every bride
self-employed.
they're just like
And-
literally piss themselves thinking Lou was giving up hair there.
I don't
But
plan
at
to
least
give
she'll
up
be
hair.
there for the birth.
And then I'll be there for their babies. So yeah, so you're hired
No
privately.
way.
You can be their birth partner. You can be there to help them with the baby in the first few weeks of life. And so
I see you doing that.
yeah.
Because you
I'd be
know
really
what?
good
It's
at-
more
so I was
the
saying to
experience.
Shauna, like we could do it together as like a joint
Imagine
thing.
either
Yeah,
side
she's
of you.
not as excited.
No,
Either
I was
side of
like,
you is pissing
I-
yourselves laughing.
I'm sorry.
Well, someone's in pure fucking agony.
I started having kids when I was 18. I can't listen to other people, and no, I've done that. No,
Oh,
I
I
can't
do.
go there.
I'd be lapping it up. I love all that.
No way.
Love it. Yeah, love it.
That is a side note now that the world
Yeah.
did not know about Lou Merryweather.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
my
go.
plan.
Yeah.
I told my mother, and of course, I'm
no,
like
that
you.
was-
I need to have something else.
Yeah, because
to-
it is really
a
hard.
plan.
Yeah, yeah.
And my mom's, and she's, I just want to do that. And I was like, because I won't be able to. You're not giving it up now, are you? I was like, no.
Yeah, everyone is like,
long term. Like that's
Yeah,
eventually
yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm going to do.
no way.
Yeah.
And because you guys, it like that, it is really hard to scale what you're already doing. Because where do you go? Like when you are and I listen to loads of podcasts, and at the minute there's this big wave of like people in economics and business talking about people who work for their services and it being extremely difficult to scale that business. But then you guys have brought out the likes of your master classes.
Yeah.
Genius, brilliant. Everyone loves them. Tell me a little bit more about them.
Oh, I mean, I love it.
Like
do
I
love it on
wanted
the
to
day.
go, and then I
Yeah.
was like, I can't put a brush through my own hair. Everyone would be like, "What the fuck is the weird Moa doing here?"
It's
But
like
we actually have makeup artists that come because they
Yeah.
want to just, if they're doing shoots or something, they might want to be able to do a wave or, a
Lads,
ponytail.
I-
Like, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
she's
I'd
not-
love
she's
to
not
go,
coming on
but
that.
I'd just be terrible at hair. I genuinely like.
But it's look and learn.
it would
Yeah.
be. Yeah, it is look and learn, but it is for like people who would kind of
have a good.
Yeah, it's
like
for
doing hair as well. Like
skilled
I'm talking like
hairdressers.
it's for hairdressers, but then it's also for makeup artists that want to kind of upscale. Just they're already kind of they're capable of putting a nice wave in a hair.
Yeah, and they
throwing
want
hair
to
into a ponytail
upscale.
or whatever. So it's just about getting
Yeah.
a bit more skilled in that area. But yeah, so it's a masterclass that we wanted to put together for. Yeah, because when we started out in the industry, like there was Joanne Kelly, Sheen Sharkey, we were going to all their masterclass. Who else?
Yeah, Aisling Hamill.
Aisling Hamill. So it was just about doing the same thing and like
I think though, because we get on really well and our work is quite similar, we were a really good like
Team.
match. Yeah,
Yeah,
team,
yeah.
And I just think as well as that, like you know all these people in the industry through Instagram, but you've never really met them.
yeah.
So when we came
Yeah.
out of lockdown,
I've
that's
loads
it.
of friends. If I went by it,
Yeah.
Yeah, I have millions of friends.
millions.
But when we did our first Dublin masterclass,
Oh,
oh my God,
brilliant.
it was amazing.
No,
because
it looked deadly.
because we'd just come out of lockdown, everyone was just dying to do
be
something
together.
and go. And we hadn't done, there's been no training at all anywhere for like 2 years or something. So it was a sellout. Obviously, it was a sellout. We had a great location for it. And the laugh we had.
Oh, we had a great
although
day.
we did great. Like we did a couple of looks. I think we did 3 or 4 each. We did lots of advice because we had aimed it first for people that were starting out in freelance, didn't we?
Yeah.
But then we ended up like everybody in the
'cause
industry did it. We
yeah.
were
Yeah.
like, why are you on it? Please don't put that pressure on us.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I think it's so important to be able to network. So like
It
when we
was.
would have done the first masterclasses that we attended when we went freelance, like it's how you meet each other.
That's how I met you.
Yeah. And then you can recommend each other. And I think it's so important because you're freelance, you're working by yourself. It's so important to have people to bounce ideas off and bounce like issues off or get advice or like even just to send someone a photograph and go like, is that all right? Like,
Yeah,
did I
what
do
would you
good?
do
Like, what would you do
differently?
different? Or like, what products do you use? And all of that. So I think the masterclass is about bringing everyone together, learning, like upskilling obviously, but then learning what happens behind the scenes. And then like, but there's salons that want their staff to come to us as well. So now we've had to make it that it's not just about freelancers. It's about just upskilling, and there's a tiny little bit about, you know, if you are a freelancer, this is how you manage emails, get yourself an accountant, get your social media, you know.
Yeah, there's a whole...
Have templates for all your email responses, your pricing, all of that. Do you know?
So do you think that it will grow? It will continue to grow? Because it seems like something that can be...
Well, we did Dublin, then we did Galway.
Yeah. And now we're doing Dublin again.
Dublin again.
When is the one in Dublin?
November the 20th.
Yeah.
And is there still tickets?
No.
Oh, I was like, let's promote it. Let's not.
But you know what? Like,
Where is it on in Dublin?
It's in the room in
the
Sandymount.
Sandymount.
Norma Jean. Do you know Norma Jean O'Reilly?
She won the image the other night.
She won the image and the salon won the image.
Oh, yeah.
So it's in her salon.
Oh,
Gorgeous
Yeah.
salon.
fab.
Yeah. So it is a sellout, but we might put on another one. We will put on another one again, but
Like
we
we will
don't know
do
how
another
soon.
one. Yeah.
It's a lot of work as well.
Yeah. Oh,
For Lou.
yeah.
A lot of work.
No, the funniest, Robyn, I swear to God, right? So when we decided to team up on this, it was like, great, and you'll bring this and you'll bring that. And I was like, well, I can't do that. Now I'm crap at admin.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a control freak.
And she is. So
You're
no,
me.
I'll give you an
That'd be me.
example, okay? So she's asked me, okay, then you just do the social media, the Instagram page, right? She locked herself out, so I was like, grand, I'll do that. That's fine. So then, right, I noticed she'd obviously got herself back in it because she was answering DMs. I was like, hello?
Is this
can
not
you
my job?
Yeah, go away. But then, so she said, do up a post and, you know, promote it or whatever, when we had set the date and
It's
everything.
going to be more to her.
We'd still have
So-
tickets if we'd gone by Shauna's post. 2 of the worst
Come here.
photos.
So I put them. They were fab pictures. It's just I'm
They were
crap
terrible.
at putting the caption. Do you know the way some people
Yeah,
are great
yeah.
at putting the whole description? Anyway, I put up the post, delighted with myself.
Just a
like,
photo.
No, it was 2
Of-
pictures of one of Lou's hair and one of mine, and talked about the masterclass. Anyway, I sent it to her going, have a look, I've just put up a post. And she came back and she goes, I'm underwhelmed. I was, oh, right. And she goes, just take it down. Take it down. I'll do it. I'll send you the... So next of all, I was like, you know what?
I did a reel.
She did a real... No,
Right,
it was
up
amazing.
the game.
It was
Up the game.
amazing.
It's about video, lads.
It's
If
got
you're
nearly
not doing
10,000
video,
views, that reel.
Stop it.
Yeah, here we go. So then she texted me to say, sorry, what are you bringing to this party? I was like,
No,
my
I love
presence
this.
on the day
Yeah.
is what
She's
will
there on
bring
the
it.
day.
On the day,
And a few
I'll
bottles of
bring it.
Prosecco.
But
We'll
you know
have
what?
a few bevies after.
It does, see, this is why we get on so well, because we can say things. I can say to her,
Yes,
no, that's
yin and
awful.
yang.
That's terrible.
And like she'll
Siobhan.
tell me if I send her a picture of some work I've done, she'll go, oh, that's all.
I'll
That's
say,
not,
Lou.
no, it's not your best
Yeah.
work. Or,
Jesus, Lou,
and
what
I will
happened
not be in the slightest bit offended.
No.
And she's not offended by me.
No.
We just don't get offended.
No.
So we can be so
Yeah, so
honest
it's,
with each other.
it's a good. It's a
It
good.
works really well.
works.
It
yeah.
works
And
really
like,
well.
So whatever way it works, it works.
It doesn't matter if Lou does more of the work, but
My back is broke.
You work really well, Lou.
But
You
I'll just
work
put
really
it in
well.
there, okay? When one of the times, because Lou has had COVID about 50 times, but one of the times Lou had COVID,
yeah.
I did one of the classes because we did a
your own
masterclass,
hair.
do your own hair, and it was a sellout as well. And,
Oh no, I'd go.
She
to
did that one by
I did
herself.
it by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I'd go
I was
to
like,
that.
okay, I can do things.
Do
like
another
that.
one of them.
She doesn't want to do that.
Lou, for me, just for me.
No, we
We've had-
did 2 because we did one in Sarah Lyons as well.
We did.
And no, they were good, but they're just...
They're a lot of work.
And you can't charge the same as you charge professionals because you're upskilling professionals. So you
That's
can
gonna make
charge,
money from it.
Yeah,
gonna make
they're
money from the
investing,
yeah,
and they
it's
can
an
write it
investment.
off.
Yeah. And so you can't charge the same for people just coming in to learn how to do their own hair out. But
and for the time and energy that goes into
even
it.
pick up a wand.
and can't hold a hairdryer. Like it's mad. But I didn't think people were that
that's
bad.
me. That's why I'm saying.
You'd be
like,
better
I
off
wouldn't
having
be,
a 1-to-1.
Yeah, like I wouldn't.
But she can do you
like
can
my
do
friend,
your own hair once.
my
You'd have to do all the emails yourself.
She blow dried my hair. What day are we today? Tuesday. She blow dried this on Sunday. You see,
that's
why.
That's why you look
like
fab.
that's the only reason it would have been up in a top knot.
It's beautiful.
So that's the only reason.
Yeah, there is a lot of demand for that do your own hair now. I must say, but it takes a lot of patience.
Really
and she doesn't really have patience. As you can see, she doesn't have patience with me.
No, and you know what? I actually don't. I can't. I need to be teaching people that know how to.
Yeah, and that's fair because then you strive in that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you should do that then and not focus on the things, because that's as well. I think it's a really important part of business, and it's like what you say: if you do what you love, and you'll succeed. When you start adding in the things that you don't enjoy and you don't love, you just don't put the same energy into it. And then if you go and you do one of them, and people were like, "That wasn't great," like you're marked off of that.
Yeah,
you know. So I think it's really important when you've the power to just do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I loved teaching. I was a trainer in Mac for my final couple of years with them. And I miss it so much, but so much goes into setting up those classes.
Yeah.
And with makeup, it's very different because there's a lot physically in terms of kit wise and all that needed. But no,
like we get really nervous now, like the 2 days before.
Yeah, of course, but that's good.
On the
Nerves
toilet
are
that
good
morning.
though. Yeah,
like, The one in Dublin that we did, and Mandy J was the model for Lou, and she was in the car, and they picked me up. I'm like, we're always having the crack. Like myself and Lou just constantly laugh.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, we got into the car and we didn't speak, right? And
silence.
here was Mandy and talking about the weather, and I was just like out the window, and Lou was just driving like with her like on the steering wheel. And then when it was over, Mandy came up to me and she said, "I can't believe how quiet you two were in the car this morning." And I said, "Mandy, I thought I was going to be physically ill, like vomit."
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that morning, like, why are we doing this to ourselves?
Why did we?
Why are we doing this?
I know,
we
because
agreed to this.
Yeah, because
we've
made
done
it.
this ourselves.
Yeah, so like no one's forcing you. You're not.
And we'll
working
still
for
be as
someone.
nervous when we do the one
course we will.
in November.
Yeah, but I think that shows that you care. Like they're really, really like. They're really important feelings to feel, because that's what then gives you the adrenaline, the drive,
and
like
the feeling afterwards when you've done it.
Unbelievable.
And everybody loved it, and
I
everyone
love being with everyone.
Yeah,
and it's just like, oh, you're on a high.
It's a
You
buzz.
really
It
are.
is a buzz.
Yeah.
And it's really important because there's a lot of lows being self-employed. It's so important to absorb the highs.
Yeah.
Because I on a previous episode with Emmett Brennan, we talked. He was went to the Olympics as a boxer at the last Olympics, and he was talking about like the highs and the lows, and like the highs are so quick and the lows can be long. So it's so important that when you do have those moments that you really, you absorb them, take it in, enjoy it, enjoy the people around you. But those feelings that's all part of it. Like, and in terms of you're both mothers, and you're both in an industry. We've talked about being up at 4 a.m. You're working. We're half dead by Sunday night. How do you find? So work-life balance is a word, right? That I don't really like it, and reason why I don't like it. And I've listened to a couple of podcasts that have talked about this. It's always aimed at women. It is always aimed at women, and it's always aimed at like, have you work? I was like, have you ever been asked how's your work? And he was like, what's that? And I was like, get out of my face.
No, I know.
Like, do you know what I mean? And it's a word I hate, but what I mean by asking you is like, how have you done it? Because I think, and I'm asking this from, I know that if I want the answer to this question, loads of other women do too. Like how, because I'm like, I've one, would like another, and I'm like, how does that happen? Like, how have you, what's your advice? What have been the trials and tribulations of that, trying to have this fantastic career and still be a fantastic mother at the same time?
Like, our kids are a bit older. Like, I know Zach is still only
Zach is
7. But like my kids are 18 and 12, nearly 13. So like it's different now because they're kind of self-sufficient, do you know?
Yeah.
And I'm lucky as well. My husband works from home. Even before COVID, he always worked from home.
Okay.
He used to travel a lot. Obviously, he doesn't travel so much now.
Okay.
But like for a long time, I did a lot of stuff by myself because I just had to, because he was away.
He was away, yeah.
Sunday to Thursday, like every week for sometimes 6 months on the trot. So I was used to doing things by myself, and that's when I worked in an office job. Now that I'm doing freelance or working in salon, when I was working in salon as well, I found that like I was still feeling guilty, even though I had more time with the kids. I felt guilty because I was missing like sports days or parent teacher meetings that were on during the day, and you can't just cancel a client to go, you know. Whereas now I'm putting those things in my diary before I open up my diary for that year.
Good.
So I try and get things in the diary and, you know, work it around that way. So I kind of, but I do you know what? And even though I can spend more time with the kids, I still feel guilty. It's just the way we are. You know, I just think as mothers, you're just guilty all the time, no matter what you do. It's never good enough. I constantly lie in bed at night thinking, oh, am I ruining their lives? Am I doing? And we're not.
No, I know.
Someone said to me one time, you're good enough. Yeah, it's good enough parenting. That's what you have to measure yourself against. Are you good enough? And we are good enough.
We're doing your best.
You're doing your best, and it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be. And even when I was in an office job full time, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, you know, and had the weekends with my kids. Now I have more time with my kids. I still feel guilty. So we're never.
Yeah, it's
never
enough.
But it should be. You know.
Yeah. And what about you, Shauna?
Yeah, like you know, I have big gaps between mine. So my eldest is 24, then 16 and 7. So the 24 and 16-year-old, they would have experienced me in the salon. So I would have been always working, like morning till evening. Do you know, like that. I would have tried to get out for a Christmas concert you get told the day before, and I have Christmas appointments in, and all that stuff stressed me out. But and I did think by doing what I'm doing now, I would feel less guilty. But like what you said, Lou, I think the older you get, you feel more guilty. I feel really guilty. Like I'm separated, and so I'm really lucky though, because my ex-husband is real hands-on. So if I have a very early start, the kids have to stay with their dad the night before.
Yeah.
So I find that, especially this year, they tend to be with their dad more night times than they are with me, because I'm up so early for work.
Yeah.
So that's a killer. But I find then that I really make time, the time I have with them now, you know, because I'm more aware of it. So like on Sunday, I said to my little fella, let's just put our devices away, because he loves his iPad. And I was like, let's have a digital free day. We're going off for the day. And we had a great day. Now, I did take a couple of pictures, but that was it. There was no contact with anyone. We went off. We went for something to eat, and I'm trying to do more of that, because I know I'm just more aware of the time I'm not with him.
Yeah.
So, do you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, like.
But you see, it's so funny, because like my husband wouldn't think like that at all. He'd be like, yeah, well, I work and that's it. That's black and white.
I've got to go to work.
Yeah. And so men just think differently to women, and he never feels guilty.
Yeah.
He thinks he's a great dad, and he is a great dad.
Yeah.
But like he wouldn't overthink anything, worry if he's damaging the kids, nothing like that. Whereas it's all I do.
Yeah.
I think it's just the way we are.
And I think it's because we are asked those sort of questions.
Yeah.
That like we
I
zone
think
in on it.
You have to accept you can't both be doing it. You can't both be, you know.
Yeah, then
something's got to give.
To work.
I'm happy. So there's always a primary parent, do you know? So usually it's the mum, and that's grand. So like I would take on all the kids' problems. I would fix things. I would do all the things with the schools. But then Dan's great as well. He does loads of stuff in the house because he's there all the time. And I love that the kids come home and there's someone there.
Yeah, that's great. That's
you know, I think that's so important, because I remember going home to my home like after school and that, and my mum was always there because my mum didn't work. And then I'd have friends who had like came from a single parent household. They'd go home and they'd have to light the fire, start the dinner after school.
Yeah, well, we did that. Yeah, because both my parents worked.
You know, it's very hard. So I kind of think, well, actually, you know, the kids are lucky because there's always someone in the house.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So
you've just got to weigh it up, don't you?
And like if your kids are happy, content, you know, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And you're doing your best. And as long as you're always trying to do your best for your kids,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that's all that matters.
Yeah, because I think because with Avery being 4 and then going self-employed officially,
Yeah.
like had been doing weddings, probably would have done 10 to 15 a year while I worked in Mac.
You're going to be a lot busier.
Yeah, but the first February I was like, my mum had passed in the December and I was like,
So
him
tough.
and just him and I like that. I was never going, and my mum knew I was never going to be, nor was my sister, you know, the person that took months off. Like I wasn't gonna take off work for ages. We were like, we're gonna give ourselves 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I actually had a wedding booked in the 1st of February. So I was like,
That was your goal.
That
to
was
go
my-
back.
that was my goal. My dad like dropped me in, collected me, you know, just did things to
Yeah.
help the process.
Yeah.
But it has been insane this year, and I find for me it's more my physical energy,
Yeah.
like because it's so demanding and you give it so much that when I come home to a 4-year-old, I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
Will
Yeah.
you
I
play
know.
with me?
And they're so busy at that
Yeah.
age and they want your attention.
And they're talking nonstop. And you're just like,
yeah. And she's like, why is the sky blue? And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, why are you not napping anymore?
ask Google. Ask Google.
Yeah, ask
Where's your
Alexa in
iPad?
there. Where's Alexa? What am I paying that bitch for? Yeah, but
I do
like,
find
it's-
though next year I'm like definitely going to change the way, like obviously this
The
year
way you
was-
work.
Yeah. I'm
this
definitely,
year is a bit different.
yeah.
yeah, because it's the year after, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
After
like I've
COVID.
decided I've cut back. Like I still travel all over the place. She'd just be laughing
Down
at
to
me.
the back arse of Kerry.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
no, I've stopped.
I
Like
know.
I won't do that next year, especially because I really feel it now with
Yeah.
the kids having to stay with their dad more, and you know, and
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
feel
that's
you're
not what
missing
I
out.
want. So next year I won't do that. I won't travel as far. And I'm actually going to take a couple of weekends off.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to probably take a weekend every month off
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
be more present.
And I think like that, because weddings are every day now, like they're not
Yeah,
traditionally.
because when we weren't working during COVID, we said yes to everything for this year.
Yeah.
So you were just like, kids, okay, you see the way you're seeing me now all the time,
Yeah.
you're not going to see me next year. And that's
Yeah.
all I kept saying. And now the guilt. So I'm like, okay, it's about balance.
Yeah.
Next year
Yeah.
I'll feel better. I'll still be working really hard, but I just won't be, my time will be better. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I'll just balance it a bit better. And
yeah.
it's all experience, still learning. Like,
Yeah, of course. And it is that word balance. It's all
Yeah.
about balance, because if you do too many weddings, like you can tell the suppliers that just aren't in it anymore. And
sad,
when I get to that point, that's when I'll become a doula.
Sure, you're sorted. You're grand.
What am I going to do?
Doula.
Will I do your PA?
You know, we'll all just do it.
Yeah, do doula.
Yeah, do
No,
doula.
but it's. I don't ever want to be at that point. I
Yeah.
can't see myself reaching that point because I love it so much. Like I absolutely love my job, and I feel
Yeah,
so
I do
lucky
too.
to
Oh,
do
no,
what
My
I
same.
kids
do.
say
Yeah.
that to me, that, you know,
And-
when I say about, you know, make sure you do something you love, and they're like, Ma, you're just one of them people. You're so
it's-
lucky that you love what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because not everybody loves what they do.
My mum used to say that to me when I'd be like pissing and moaning and come back when Avery was like a lot younger, and I'd be like, "Oh, I just haven't patience and I'm wrecked and all," and she'd be like, "Do you know what, Robyn? People get up and go to work and they hate what they do
Hate
for
it.
their whole lives."
Yeah.
She goes, "Not just for a short period of time,
Yeah.
for their whole lives." That's why when I read that quote on your website, like it really struck a chord, because I was like, I just have visions of her being like my mum was a real like, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
like,
and
see,
just-
that's what I mean. Our
sometimes
parents
you
won't
have to-
entertain it.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
us. Oh,
Yeah.
poor me.
Poor me. And sometimes like it is really hard, and that's fine. You feel, you know, it's important to feel what you feel, but then it's also like you do have to say to yourself like, fuck me, like I love doing this.
Yeah.
Love it.
Like, and when
Like-
you do a wedding and you're
Oh.
like, that was
When you leave and you're
stunning.
on that high,
Yeah,
and you're
there's
like,
nothing like
oh
it.
my God, I
Yeah,
love my
we
job.
also
I
send
love
each
my
other
job.
voice notes and pictures when we're on a high too. It's not always the bad.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh my God,
I
I
loved
loved
what I
that.
did today.
Literally,
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
So literally, my thing was after every single wedding, I sent my mum a photo because my mum was real
Ah,
like.
let me see the bride.
Let
Let me
see
see the mother of the bride.
Show me the mother of the
Yeah,
bride.
yeah.
Wasn't intended, and she gave me the whole
Yeah.
fucking synopsis, like, and
Yeah,
her, you know.
yeah.
So like now, my sister and my friend Leah, who she works in a salon, but she'll do the odd few weddings and that. Like the two of them get sent photos, and Leah be like, "Yeah, lovely," and I'm like, but just like, just a thing.
No, I do
man,
that to the
so-
girls' WhatsApp, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, she's lovely." Yeah,
Yeah, she's lovely. Yeah, we'll see her on your Instagram.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. No.
But it's just it is that when you're on that buzz of
Yeah.
you've like,
And
you-
they're so proud of you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know, they're
yeah.
like, oh, can't believe you did that. That's beautiful.
You're amazing.
Yeah, it is so good. So what is the goal going forward for you guys now into if you to say to yourselves, this is, you know, with hair and bridal, what's next?
I just continuing doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually have. I'm very content where I am at the moment in my job, and
How powerful is that though?
Yeah, no, I know, and it's taken me a good few years to get
how
here.
powerful is
So
that?
I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and like this, I suppose I kind of gauge the inquiries at the email stage, and if I don't get a good feeling from an email, I'm not going to do that wedding.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't say that, but
No.
I'm just now
Yeah.
making the choice to just do, like, I love a good email. I love a nicely worded email and a hello and how are you and would you be available?
Hi,
and thank
wedding
you so much.
date.
Sometimes you just
people,
get that
and
through.
you're like,
Oh,
So
no.
now I would always respond to them, but I'm just making the decision to only deal with good energy, I suppose.
Yeah.
As much as you can. Sometimes
Yes,
you
of course.
can't.
Yeah.
And just keep giving people a really decent service, and that's it. Just keep doing
love
what
that.
we're doing.
Something very powerful in being in a position in your life where where sometimes there doesn't always have to be a goal or a next step.
Yeah.
You know, to get to a point where you've worked really fucking hard for it, and you should just revel in that now and enjoy that and sit in that for as long as you feel you need to.
Yeah, I suppose the only thing we both said was we'd like to be available more for maybe a shoot here and there.
Editorial work.
Sometimes
you had said
editorial
that to
work
me,
you're asked last minute. And so some of them I've had to turn down. You're like,
I just turned
really
down
wanted to do that
I
person's
actually
hair.
turned one down for you ladies today. So just letting you
Oh my
know,
God,
could be on
really?
the shoot now.
Aww.
No,
Is anyone famous? Ish?
like a love actor, I think.
Oh.
Nidge?
No, I did a
You would've
cancelled on
cancelled.
news for him now. Yeah, someone and their wife. But anyway, we're here.
Okay.
Delighted.
Yeah.
But it's well, thank you for doing that.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, so sometimes I'd love to be available for like people last minute.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I feel next year I'm taking less weddings to be a little bit more available for family and friends and other things that I find I've missed out on.
Yeah.
And what else? Yeah, shoots. I'd like to do a little bit more of that. I find I get really creative when I do work like that. And sometimes when you're doing weddings, I absolutely love doing them, but you're doing the same thing.
Yeah,
So
it's hard to keep the creativity flow.
Yeah. And that's where my creating the pieces, it makes me feel like I'm doing something more creative, you know, and that's where I'm at. I'll do a bit of that and I'll do probably a bit of shoot work and my weddings, and I'll be happy out.
Yeah. And it is the gas thing because you think you have to fill up your diary, but so much work comes in the
does.
time. The best advice Natasha Ray ever gave me was do not look too far ahead into your calendar.
No.
Because I was like January at December.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've no work.
No.
It's dead. It's
I
dead.
know.
And I'm
a
like,
makeup artist said that to me the other day. I've no bookings for January. And I was looking at her going, what? We're only September. Like, of course you're going to get bookings for January.
yeah, because people will be going to weddings if you're not doing a wedding. Yeah,
you definitely get work. Like, I'd never worry about stuff like that ever.
Yeah, but it is when you're first like fully and your calendar is your life and you're like,
because there's so many last minute weddings that come in.
So many.
I got like
people don't know they have to book that far in advance.
Some people are not into hair makeup and they don't know and they're just not into it.
Or you might get a call to do the groom's family.
And
they're lovely.
Yeah.
Because
and then
there's
no
stress.
Like, not that there's no commitment with that. There is commitment, obviously, but there's no trial. There's no, emails back and forth.
Yes.
You're just there on the day,
You're
show up.
booked.
So sometimes there's some of the easier jobs.
Yeah,
but you're still getting to do lovely wedding hair.
Exactly. Yeah, I did a lovely groom side with I met Shakira for
Oh,
the first time.
I love Shakira.
Yeah, we did
she's
in Paris
lovely.
court. So lovely.
Shakira.
Yeah, and she actually won. She
I was like, did she actually meet Shakira? Like a conference? I was like, what? You met who?
So I met Shakira and had a great
Sorry,
time.
I know who you're talking about now. Sorry.
But she actually she entered the competition on the podcast page and won the sheet masks and because she was like, we got talking about organic skincare and all that, and I was like, oh, the podcast. So so she's lovely. But guys, thank you so much for joining me.
That's been
that
so
was
fun.
lovely.
The crack.
Yeah.
The crack. So we'll be
Brilliant.
back in a few years to talk about all your many other accomplishments.
Talk about our doula career.
Yeah, your doula career. Yeah, that's it. We'll all be doulas.
I'm just going to change Hair by Lou Merryweather to
Marielle.
What? Sorry, I don't know what I said there. Just be doula.
Doula.
Doula
No, I
Merryweather.
love it. But thank you so much. It's been an absolute honour to have you guys on.
Oh, thanks,
Brilliant.
love.
Thanks a million,
Thank
Robyn.
you.